I got phone calls, text messages I'm seeing on the internet. I'm false flagging. I want to know what's going on.
Nigga saying that you ain't from the hood. You ain't been to the hood.
You saying I'm not from the hood? Who's saying I'm not from the hood? You saying I'm not from the hood?
I said what I said.
I'm asking you a question.
Nigga, I said what I said.
Now, we gotta talk about the situation that's going on with Roddy Ricch. You guys heard the audio that I played you. Roddy Ricch recently got accused of not being from the hood by a known gang member while they were on Clubhouse. And Roddy Ricch kinda went off. Let's talk about it. Now, pulling out a coup de lap, 12 swap. Roddy Ricch. We of course talked about Roddy Ricch a couple of days ago when I dropped my honest opinion on his recent album, Live Life Fast. That album has obviously been a really big conversation as far as Roddy Ricch for the last 3 weeks. Today, we're of course not here to talk about that. We are, however, here to talk about this recent situation that went down on a Clubhouse app with Roddy Ricch. Now, what happened was this. The other day, a known gang member out in Compton, who apparently goes by the name of Yael, accused Roddy Ricch of several things, one of them being that he's not from the hood. Roddy Ricch ended up confronting the guy live on a Clubhouse app and went ballistic on him.
You saying I'm not, I done got on so far, I'm false flagging, nigga, I got put on my hood and I was over there. Every video until Antisocial was in the hood. The label, Julie Greenwald, called us and told us we doing too much in Compton, nigga. We gotta go and do videos everywhere else, nigga. That's what happened, nigga.
Cap, bro. That's cap. Niggas know what the deal is, bro.
Ask Julie Greenwald, nigga. Whack business
that go like that.
These is billionaires and millionaires that you don't know about. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand.
We ain't talking about no internet shit. We ain't talking about no motherfucking industry shit. We talking about real street shit, my nigga.
Listen. I done made $20 million in a year. You think I'm about to be posted up with you, nigga?
Ain't nobody said you had to be posted up with me,
what
nigga.
What the fuck is you talking about?
Now, I've never seen Roddy going off like this. He's a pretty quiet guy outside of the music, barely addresses the media, gossip and rumors surrounding his name. Obviously, he felt compelled enough to confront this guy though. I mean, the gang member not only accused him of not being from the hood, but he also accused him of false flagging, which if you don't know what that means, that's pretty much when someone claims they're a part of a gang when they're not. Hence why it's called false flagging. So Roddy, like you heard, was going off on a guy by defending his position because, you know, the guy made several claims that go against some of the things Roddy has said in the music as far as the street talk. So that's pretty much what the deal with that is. Roddy Ricch is getting accused of being a fraud by this other gang member from his city. Keeping it real, man, I don't think Roddy Ricch should have responded to this guy at all. I mean, obviously the guy was straight up hating, let's just get that out of the way, and I can guarantee that 99.999% of Roddy Ricch fans do not give a damn about any of this shit. That's number one. Number two, apparently this gang member is somewhere in his 30s. What I'm asking myself is why a man in his 30s would try to intimidate a 23-year-old who's done more for his community in the last year than this guy's done in his 30 years of living. I don't really see the point in doing all that, although I can't really speak from the perspective of a street nigga, because, you know, I'm a law-abiding citizen and shit. I'm sure nobody thought Blackie was from the streets, though. What I can say is this. The older generation hating on the younger generation is a movie we've seen play over and over and over again, especially in the genre of hip-hop. As far as this particular situation involving Roddy Ricch getting slandered by this gang member, one thing that's really evident to me is that there's a lot of jealousy and envy coming from his side. Now, why would he be directing it towards Roddy? Well, after all, Roddy Ricch, despite the circumstances he grew up in, not only made it out of that environment, but he went on to thrive on top of that. Here we have a classic case of, if I can't have it, then I don't want you to have it. This is the kind of thing that a lot of rappers who, you know, talk about the street shit face. They end up making it big, become successful as hell, famous, all that, and then at some point in their career, they get accused of either not being from the hood, not being quote-unquote about that life, or just not paying their dues to the gangs in their city, whatever that entails. The issue with that is everybody expects a fucking handout, which that's whack because you're not entitled to shit unless you work for it. Had Roddy Ricch helped this guy in any way, shape, or form, I can promise you that he would have never said a damn thing. But because Roddy isn't out there in the streets with this guy when he has zero reasons to be out there, he's automatically a fraud. I think this is low-key, or should I say high-key, a trap one a lot of rappers seem to unfortunately fall for. Once their entire street persona gets challenged by, let's say, some real members, they feel like they're personally getting challenged, so they want to prove people otherwise. And sometimes that leads to them getting involved in the street shit once again when they don't really need to because they're millionaires, and that unfortunately leads to them getting in trouble with the police, perhaps getting locked up. And see, the thing is, when we see these stories of rappers who, you know, are rich and they're famous, but they're still out here doing shit in the streets, a lot of that happens out of pure ego. They get tested by actual gang members, so they feel like they gotta prove themselves and put in work even while they're famous and rich. I don't think that's where Roddy Ricch is headed, but I do think even responding to something like this is a step in the wrong direction. A lot of rappers simply get caught up in the whole mentality of, I gotta prove myself to the real niggas who are out here putting in actual work. But here's the thing, man, the so-called real niggas aren't even a part of your audience. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what they say because they're not putting money in your pocket, are they? It's just a bunch of grown men, gang members, whatever you want to call them, who are simply salty as hell that you made it out of the hood and they're still standing in the corner all these years later. That's just what it is. The smartest thing you can do as a rapper who grew up in the hood is, when you eventually make it out, do not go back. I don't care what nobody says, do not go back. That's not to say you can't do things like charity work for your community and whatnot, but being posted up in a corner with real members, that shit's gonna get you killed, point blank, period. I'm saying this because this Roddy Ricch situation reminds me of what we've seen a lot of rappers go through as far as being labeled as, you know, a fraud by the streets. This is why all the street rappers constantly talk about being good in their own hood, because if they're not welcome to their own block, then were they really out there putting in work like they claim? So a lot of rappers by default are extremely defensive about their street persona, kind of like Roddy was in his case. I don't think there's any issues with that, by the way. If you're just telling your story like it happened and someone comes out the woodwork and calls you a fraud and tells the whole world that you're lying, then yeah, you're obviously gonna be a little mad. That's very understandable. But here's the thing, man, and this is a message to Roddy Ricch. You can't really reason with these older cats who've seen life just passing them by for the last 30-some years and they haven't done a single thing to elevate themselves. Meanwhile, here comes a young guy like Roddy Ricch from the same city, the same neighborhood, the same block, and this young guy effortlessly just runs up millions and millions of dollars while you've been standing on the corner being jealous when you haven't done anything to change your situation. And that's why I believe that this entire thing just comes down to jealousy. That aside, I hope Roddy Ricch puts all this frustration into the music instead of arguing with a bunch of people who've already made up their mind about him. But yeah, Roddy Ricch gets accused of not being from the hood by a gang member. Any thoughts on this entire thing? Definitely let me know in the comment section below, and let's have a discussion about this.